Hello everyone, it's Callum from Cagefront here. We are going to be predicting and breaking down all of the best fights and giving out all of the fight card awards for UFC Fight Night Amir Albazi versus Tatsuro Taira taking place in the APEX. Fantastic. But without further ado, let's get into the first fight of this banger of a matchup to kick off the predictions and the fight card. We've got Azamat Bekoev versus Yousri Belgaroui. Now, Bekoev, this guy is dangerous in the UFC. He is looking fantastic so far, and he has got finishing threats all over the damn shot. He has got KO power. He's got really nice boxing where he generates that power, and he's got a very nice offensive takedown threat. He shoots really nice blast double legs. When he gets it to the ground, the guy's 8-1 with submissions. He's got really nice rear naked chokes and arm triangles that I got to highlight the most. And he's got body kicks. He's got check hooks. This guy just doesn't really have a lot of holes in his game, and we can kind of tell. He's just walked in, absolutely destroyed Zach Reese in the first round, and has also destroyed Ryan Loader, the literal last Tough winner. So that's showing how bad Tough is struggling at the moment. Azamat Bekoev is just walking his way into a top 15 position here, and he's got to get his way through Yousri Belgaroui, which the odds are really highlighting him as the favorite here, and for him to really just clean through Yousri Belgaroui, which, granted, these odds are a bit speculative because the fight card hasn't been out for that long and these matchups are still getting made, but this is the pretty much opening odds that we're going to get. So realistically, it will probably close, but probably not close too much, because even though Yousri Belgaroui, this guy is definitely a good fighter. He's a Dutch kickboxer, very credited. He's fought Israel Adesanya. He's fought Alex Pereira 3 times and actually beat him in one of those 3 fights. Then he lost by decision. Then he got KO'd by Pereira, but it still shows the pedigree that he has with that striking. And the guy is a massive middleweight, 6'5", 79-inch reach, like Alex Pereira levels, but he's even taller than Alex Pereira. And speaking of Alex, he's not only his former opposition, he's his main training partner, and he has got some really nice tools on the feet. He's got a really nice straight right to the head and to the body. Like, he looked really good in Dana White's Contender Series. He's fought on there twice, so his actual win to get into the UFC, he was just mixing up the shots really nicely. Even got some pretty nice clinch-based exchange work with the knees up through the middle, but the guy he was fighting is just not Azamat Bekoev. But the fight before that he lost, the first Dana White's Contender Series fight, he fought Marco Tulio to a pretty competitive decision. And Marco Tulio, if you haven't seen him against Trajan Gore, that guy is a problem for the middleweight division, just like Bekoev is. But looking at Yousri, we know he's a great kickboxer. He has got a 7-inch reach advantage. And honestly, if he is able to keep this at range, he definitely does have a chance. But I just don't think that's going to be happening. Reach aside and kickboxing pedigree aside, I just think Azamat Bekoev is going to be too much for him. He's got really heavy KO power. He's very good at closing the distance because he naturally does have a pretty short reach as it is. Hasn't been a problem for him at all on the feet in his whole entire career. And Yousri Belgaroui, I gotta say, man, like, he's massive. He's a massive middleweight, but the problem is, being this tall, the guy is really just trimmed down. He's cut down, and he has had losses as a middleweight. He's had 3 losses, and in this MMA career he's fought at light heavyweight as well, which is where I think he should be. Honestly, like, he's 33 years old, so he's still in that prime age range, but I think if he wants longevity in this sport, the light heavyweight division is the right way to go, not the middleweight one. He's 3-0 at light heavyweight at the moment, and granted, he is pretty hard to keep down. I think Bekoev could even struggle to get Belgaroui down for a long period of time. He's got really good balance for someone that tall, which he's even showed against Marco Tulio extremely well. And he's got good scrambling capabilities too. So it's going to be easier said than done to actually use grappling against him. But the thing that I don't like is that he doesn't have the greatest head movement. And Bekoev, against someone that doesn't have great head movement, I'm sorry, you're not eating that kind of power that Bekoev possesses, just plain and simple. If Belgaroui is able to keep it at range, kudos to him. He's got a chance, but I do see the odds being fair here, realistically. I think Bekoev, just with that tight neck boxing range, especially with the power he has in clinch-based exchanges, I just think it's going to be too much, to be honest. And I see him getting the KO TKO win here. And with Bekoev and his resume, honestly, and just his fighting ability and his ability to punish his opposition, I'm giving him the Performance of the Night award for this card. And not only that, I'm giving him my Finish of the Night award for this card. If he's kicking off the card, if these guys are, I think it's going off with a bang. I think he's going to be first one to knock out Belgaroui in MMA, and he's going to show that his striking is seriously up there because he's fighting a guy that's fought against Izzy and fought against Alex Pereira in kickboxing. So as long as Bekoev can close the distance and utilize an MMA-based game, yeah, he's getting inside, and I think he's just going to take Belgaroui out with some dirty boxing against the cage, I think, at the start of round 2. Moving up the card to Francis Marshall versus Austin Bashi. Now, firstly, Francis Marshall, he has got the strike speed there, and in his last fight against Myron Santos, he's definitely got some power. He dropped him in the first round, and he did it with this really nice timed overhand left. So he's got the timing on his strikes, he's got the speed, and he's showing he's got some power in there too. And he does have a reach advantage over Bashi. We've got to say with Francis, he's going to be damn hungry in this fight because he got absolutely fucking robbed by Myron Santos in that last fight. It was terrible judging. He is a well-rounded guy. He's got good grappling. I think the only problem is with him is that he's someone that can get overrun by grappling. Isaac Dolgarian is a humongous example. Just someone that is able to aggressively transition well while putting Marshall on his back. That's where he does struggle a lot. Granted, Marshall's the bigger guy here, and he's been super unlucky in his career. He's had split decisions against William Gomis and Myron Santos as well. And he's got the wrestling there. He's got a good rear naked choke game as well, and good timing on that right hand, which he showed against Dennis Bazooka really well. So I think he honestly does have a good game pretty much all around. But looking at Austin Bashi, he is a very good prospect with a very heavy wrestling-based game, extremely heavy, very fast-paced, and he's got pretty nice strike defense, which is actually statistically better than Marshall's, and he's got pretty nice entries on his takedowns. And if he's going to be able to get Marshall out of here, it's got to be using that aggressive wrestling-based style that he does possess. Honestly, that's the way he's got to do it. He's got to grind Marshall out and put Marshall on his back, because I do think that Marshall is going to struggle to impose his wrestling game, because Bashi, first of all, is a very good wrestler and he has a very low center of gravity, so I think that is going to be very difficult there. And both of these guys are very great with their chokes. Bashi has got rear naked chokes in his career resume as well. If either of them are taking the other's back, there's a high chance that they're going to sink a rear naked choke against the other. But honestly, I think with a mix of Marshall's actual striking game and his volume, and that power that he now possesses against Bashi, I think Bashi will struggle a bit on the feet here. And if the odds are staying in this realm, like, Marshall isn't that bad of an underdog to take, to be honest, but I do think that the control-based game of Austin Bashi is just going to get through on this one. I think he's going to use a lot of clinch-based exchanges, and if he can get Marshall down on his back, which I think he can do for at least one round, I think that's where it's really going to be important with that control time with the judges. But I think it's just going to be a classic matchup of volume versus control. And I just don't think Marshall's scrambling capabilities are good enough against Bashi's just overwhelming wrestling-based work that he has in his game. So that's where I'm going to take Bashi by the split decision with the control edging it out. But I do think Marshall is going to get the better of him on the feet. So that's why I've got Bashi by a split decision win here. Now, moving up to an absolute heater, we have got Danny Silva versus Kevin Vallejos. Danny Silva, to start off with, super fast striker, good boxer, accurate boxer, more accurate than Vallejos statistically, and trains with some Olympic level boxers as well. He's got really, really nasty body shots. That's the best part of his game for sure. And he's got a super high output to really just cross
3 rounds. So the thing with him is just making sure that he's making weight. That's a big thing because he has got that Max Holloway size. He's 5'11". He's got a 2-inch reach advantage over Kevin Vallejos here as well, but he is someone that gets hit. Granted, he's durable. He is durable, but when he really gets into those boxing exchanges, he definitely gets a bit giddy. He really likes to get into those heated exchanges. And don't get me wrong, he applies pressure very well, applied it very well against Lucas Almeida. And I will say he was defensively better in that fight against Lucas Almeida, but against a guy that is a better striker than Almeida and Kevin Vallejos can cause trouble. Kevin Vallejos, this guy is a prospect and a half. He is damn good. Very high output. He is better defensively than Silva. And this fight is going to be awesome. Both switch stance fighters, both incredible with their boxing. But Kevin Vallejos, this guy's 23 years old and took a round away from Gene Silva and made that fight extremely competitive on Dana White's Contender Series. And from that loss, the dude's on a 4-fight finish streak. He's got great body-to-head combinations with really nice overhands and brutal body shots as well as Danny Silva, and he's got the uppercuts there. So it's a very fun fight. This is a very fun fight to have, but I think Kevin Vallejos, man, this guy's boxing is just different. He's honestly insane. When he fought Choi, he slipped under the right hand and caught him with an overhand right directly on the chin. The timing is no joke, and he is honestly, he's not the greatest when he gets pressured. Danny Silva isn't the greatest when he gets pressured. It's really just going to be a showing of who can impose their will first. But Kevin Vallejos, for me, he just has more impact on his shots, and I do honestly believe he is going to get this done by a KO TKO finish. I think he's going to get it done to the 2nd and the 3rd round. I think these guys are just going to have some insane output. This could honestly be fight of the night. I'm not quite giving it there, but I do have to give Kevin Vallejos my fighter to watch award. That's just a no-brainer here. Honestly, if he's stuffing any form of wrestling from Danny Silva, who is more likely to utilize the wrestling here, if he's stuffing that, I think Vallejos is going to get the better of those shots in the boxing exchanges. I think that's really going to add up. Then I really think he's going to find his flow through the 2nd round, and I think he's going to finish him at the end of the 2nd or the start of the 3rd round, just with Silva accumulating a lot of that damage. And I think along with Silva's weight cut that's more drastic, I think this is the first time he's getting chinned. Now, moving up the card to the vets, we got Neil Magny versus Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. Now, firstly, with Neil Magny, the guy's got the experience. He's got a very nice reach advantage here, like he pretty much has against almost bloody everyone he fights, except for Carlos Prates, and that's where his chin is compromised. Neil Magny has taken a lot of damage in his career, and he's coming off that KO loss, but at the same time, Elizeu is coming off a pretty bad loss to Inju Kawani, which was even more recent. So it's going to be very interesting to see who can impose their will here. Both of them extremely cerebral in their approaches, especially both of them being so old now and kind of understanding so much about each other's game from tape. So I think this is going to be a slow-paced fight, but I think it's going to be very technical. I think Neil Magny, if he can get off early with the jab and really maintain that distance, he can definitely win a decision here. I don't think the odds should be that much of a difference, to be honest. It's not huge, but I do think this could be closer to a pick'em, especially with Santos being fresher off a KO. But I do like Elizeu's striking more in the closer exchanges, and Dos Santos has shown ways of getting into those tight-knit exchanges and not having any form of cardio issues. He's got better strike defense and takedown defense as well, which Neil Magny, if he's getting in trouble against the cage, which I think he will at times, him shooting on Dos Santos, I just don't think he's getting Dos Santos down. And that's where I think Dos Santos, honestly, is just going to use a heavy clinch-based boxing game. And I think he's going to take a 29-28 decision here. I think Neil Magny is going to utilize that first round to really pick off with the jab. I think Elizeu is going to have a slower start. Then the 2nd and 3rd round, I do think that Elizeu is just going to come through with that close, tight-knit boxing and win this 29-28, really working the body well, and I think just accumulating more volume overall. And moving up the card, and why I didn't give the fight of the night to Silva versus Vallejos, because we have got this absolutely disgusting matchup between Esteban Ribovic and Elves Brenner, which is an absolute fucking crime to have in an Apex fight card. Ribovics has now been on 2 in a row, and he literally just lost his last one to Nasrat Haqparast, which was a great fight. So this is probably a punishment for him bloody losing. But Brenner, to start off with, this guy, durable, very durable, has shown a lot of heart in his fight. I mean, against Guram Kutateladze, got taken out by Joel Alvarez, but he showed heart against Mekdebek Oralbai as well. He's been in some ward. He's had a tough start to the UFC, and it's not really getting any better, but he's got the reach advantage here. He's got power in his hands, even though he doesn't finish a lot of those fights with the KO TKOs. But he's got the grappling-based advantage here. He fights out a shooter box. He's definitely got the submission arsenal there. If he can get this to the ground early, Ribovics could be in trouble, even though we haven't seen Ribovics on the ground too much. So it's a bit of an unknown, but Brenner, the guy absorbs so many strikes. But the bigger problem is he has a lower output overall, and Ribovics is just better at mixing up his shots, man. Like, Ribovics is extremely durable. They're both extremely durable, but Brenner is coming off that KO TKO loss, the first actual finish loss of his career against Joel Alvarez. And that's going to be a real tell here. And going against Ribovics, who has really good distance management, is very durable himself, but has double the output, has way better kicking tools as well, and better actual strike defense, a better strike-based guard, and better takedown offense for control. I just think he has more tools here. And granted, I think this is going to be fight of the night because both are super durable, both have insane cardio, and both have real impact on their shots. But Ribovics, he's just better at landing like 1-2s to head kicks, 1-2s to body kicks. He's just better at 3 to 4 piece combinations, and I think he's just going to be able to outstrike Brenner here. But I do think it's going to be a Ribovics decision. I think Elves Brenner, even though he's coming off a KO TKO loss, Ribovics, unless he's really just pumping a head kick like he did against Terrence McKinney, I just don't think he has like the shots to just kill Brenner, unless he's just consistently landing on him and Brenner's not defending well at all. I think Brenner honestly will be a bit more conservative in that light, and I think that he's going to be trying to defend a lot more shots because he doesn't want the Alvarez treatment again. But I think Ribovics, he's just got the better striking tools here. And I think, honestly, they could both drop each other. And that's why I got to give this the Fight of the Night award. Absolutely no-brainer here. But I will say Esteban Ribovics, he needs to make sure that he's not headhunting too much here, because he did that against Nasrat Haqparast, and that was a big reason why he lost, because Nasrat was just pumping the body so much and was just beating him to the punch. Like, he was just faster towards the third round, and that's where Ribovics needs to make sure that he is mixing it up to the body. If he's mixing up to the body early, doing a fantastic job at lowering Brenner's hands, he could take Brenner out. I will not be surprised if it's a second or third round KO TKO. I just honestly have to give it to Ribovics here. I'm going to take him by a 29-28 decision. I think Brenner early will land some pretty nice damn shots. I think he'll split the guard of Ribovics a bit with some heavy combos. But then I think Ribovics just really turns on the gas in the second and third, and he takes this win here. Now moving up to our banger of a co-main event between Mateusz Rebecki and Chris Duncan. Now, firstly, I honestly just wouldn't be surprised if one of these guys actually finishes the other impressively. I'm not going to be surprised if there's a top 15 shot for one of them, because these guys are 5-1 in the UFC in that lightweight division so far. All of their fights have been entertaining. Mateusz Rebecki has only been taken out by Diego Ferreira, which was a very competitive fight, and Chris Duncan has only been taken out by Manel Torres, who is a freak in his own right. It was an absolute migraine for me to try and pick who would win this fight. It's extremely tough fight to pick. The odds here are ridiculous. Granted, remember, they are just opening odds because we're doing this so early, but this is definitely not going to swell any further out. It's definitely going to get more tight. But if this is staying at a $4.30 plus $3.30 for Chris Duncan, take my money, because it's honestly that close. Chris Duncan has been looking extremely impressive, but I do understand why Mateusz Rebecki is the favorite in this fight. He's got the better strike defense, and he fights out of southpaw, which is important because the way Rebecki fights, he uses a really nice lead swatting right hook. It just kind of frustrates the opponent, but he uses that to get inside. He uses that to get inside very well, and when Rebecki's inside, the dirty boxing, the power he has, that's where he is so damn dangerous. And going against an orthodox fighter like Duncan, the lead hand is out in front. Like, that's where that lead hook of Rebecki can really target and hit an orthodox fighter, because the hand isn't always going to be there, especially if Duncan is looking at advancing himself. So that's where I think Rebecki, stylistically against an orthodox, he's already got a bit of advantage there. But the gem for him when it comes to his game is his takedown threat, his offensive wrestling. It's extremely good, and he's got a BJJ base on top of that, and he's 7-0 with submissions. Like, he is very good all round. And Chris Duncan, don't get me wrong, an absolute guillotine machine. He is a freak of nature with the gillies. Dustin Poirier wishes. Duncan has been dangerous with those back-to-back gillies, and Duncan's got power in his hands, don't get me wrong. And if he can push Rebecki on the back foot, he's got a fantastic chance there, because he is someone that can mix up shots extremely well, like 1 to 2 shots, those strikes. I mean, we saw what he did against Vucenic. Like, he body kicked to a straight right, dropped him like a sack of shit. Duncan is dangerous on the feet, and that's why he shouldn't be this much of an underdog. But Rebecki, I mean, firstly, that lead right hook that he's got absolutely minced Mikdebek Oralbai's eye, and he has got heart. He's got durability, because in that Oralbai fight, he was just not stopping. The wrestling, I mean, being able to take Oralbai down regardless is impressive, but just being able to be on the gas the whole entire time, it's extremely impressive. But the thing that I've got to highlight with Rebecki's game is that he needs to get inside leg kicks. He needs to get those really nice body shots up close, utilize the dirty boxing, and utilize the wrestling. And with the wrestling, very, very high takedown accuracy. 75%, hits 3/4 of the takedowns he shoots. That is very high in the UFC. He's taken down every single opponent he's fought. And with Rebecki's style, he's someone that needs to get the takedown and to utilize the dirty boxing, because that's what he does to drain the gas tank of his opposition in the first round, so that he can press so heavily through to those later rounds consistently. Because Rebecki isn't necessarily a guy that has like this unlimited gas tank. It's like, oh my God, he's pressing like round after round after round. It's more so because he's drained his opponent so much in that first round because of all that pressure and them trying to get back up, and also being scooting on the back foot, trying to stop Rebecki's forward pressure and with his boxing. Like, he's just a little bulldog. That's where he's just really, really flusters his opposition. And if he can do that against Duncan in the first round, it's his fight to win. Duncan has to be out, has to press on the front foot here. If one of these guys is getting pushed on the back foot consistently, I will not be surprised if one of them's getting taken out. But Rebecki has to get it in close, because as we know, the guy's got a 66-inch reach. He has got a tiny reach for lightweight, and that's where he has to make sure he gets that dirty boxing range and gets those takedowns consistently. He just has to avoid Chris Duncan's guillotine, because Chris Duncan, just because he's been on a string of them, you know, doesn't mean he's going to get him every time, but the guy knows how to lock him in. He knows how to adjust himself properly to really make sure he can cinch them. And doing it against Vucenic, I mean, that's a very good name to take with a guillotine. And if he's staying at like boxing to kickboxing range, he's got the 5-inch reach advantage there. He's got nasty guillotines, as I said. Super well-rounded as well. He's beaten guys with stiff power, especially in that right hand. And if Rebecki is not getting him down and imposing his will, I think Duncan can knock him out. But with the wrestling itself, if Rebecki is just able to use the wrestling and avoid the guillotine with a BJJ base, and especially with how just fat his neck is and how like big his head is, in that frame, I just think he's going to be really hard to submit. That's where I think, honestly, I think Rebecki is going to be able to get this one done. I think he's going to be able to get a decision here. I think it's going to be 29-28. I think Duncan will land some really mean shots in the second round just to really try get back at Rebecki after Rebecki uses a very good clinch game, gets Duncan to the grounder in like the second half of the first round and take that round from him. I think Duncan will really pump some strikes in the second. But then if one of these guys is going to fully dog it out for that third round to get across the finish line, I think it's going to be Mateusz Rebecki to take this 29-28. Another banging fight. Now moving up to the main event, we have got Amir Albazi versus Tatsuro Taira. Now both of these guys are coming back to try and get into the win column. Both are coming off losses. Amir Albazi off of Brandon Moreno and Tatsuro Taira off of Brandon Royval. So both of them have had similar opposition caliber. And Albazi, starting with him, his main key to victory here is just utilizing strength, like wrestling-based strength in the clinch, most importantly, and just really using that power right to his advantage. He's got a lot of power in his right hand, and he does have a slight takedown defense advantage here. And he does actually have a BJJ-based 9-0 with submissions. He's pretty hard to get out of there. But you got to remember as well, he has had a neck injury, and I believe he's had like some form of like heart surgery as well. He definitely had neck surgery too. So he's been through the wars a fair bit, which against Brandon Moreno, coming back into that fight, I mean, it was really risk versus reward, but he did not look good at all in that fight. Got completely outstruck, completely outworked by Brandon Moreno. Albazi, like, granted, he's good with submissions, but man, Tatsuro Taira is just so damn good transitionally. It's not even him actually hunting submissions and stuff. Taira's control and his scrambling capability and just transitions in general. Transitions are literally the best part of his game, like by a country fucking mile. Look, Albazi, if he hurts Taira, the guy's got arm bars, he's got key locks, he's got like gillies, he's got submissions in his arsenal. Like he's able to get submission-based wins, but he's gonna have to do Taira in, drop him like a sack of shit to really get him out of there. I just don't think that he has like the striking pedigree there, really. Like he's got good uppercuts and good straight shots, but he's only really got a right hand. That's all I've really seen. I mean, he looked extremely rusty in the Moreno fight. Who knows how he's going to come back into this one, especially with those surgeries he's had. And Taira's got some pretty nice hand speed as well. Like, he's not like a Brandon Moreno with the striking. Don't get me wrong. I think Albazi will be able to put in some work against Taira in this fight. I don't really see that Albazi should be a 3-1 dog in this fight. I think that should close off a little bit more. But Taira, as I said, grappling, transitional capabilities there, just like very tough. Like you saw against Alex Perez, he was able to transition all throughout the back, grapevine the legs, body triangles, just, yeah, he's a bitch of a thing to deal with. And he's got a 2-inch reach advantage, and not to mention statistically, the guy has a 60% strike accuracy, has higher volume, has higher just accuracy in general, better strike defense overall, and a lower absorption rate. And he's got the takedown offense volume over Albazi too. And Albazi, I just don't know if he's really going to want to impose his will on the ground here. I think he's going to really want to stay in strike with Taira, whereas Taira is going to want to use his whole game. Taira, being the bigger kind of fighter as well, he's taller, like he's not as muscular, but he's taller, he's got length. And the thing I really liked against Brandon Royval is using the clinch, using the Muay Thai in the clinch, really nice knees in the clinch, good elbows as well, and great timing with his uppercuts and his straight shots too. And that's where, when there were counters, and I think Amir Albazi can get tagged a fair bit when he is pushing on the front foot and the opposition is faster than him. And that's where, with Taira's swift jab and fast straight rights down the pipe, I think that's where he's going to make Albazi struggle a little bit. Not a heap, but I just do like Taira's ability to get control more so when it comes to transitions, especially in clinch-based exchanges. I think the most fascinating part about this fight is whenever this gets to the clinch, because it's going to be Taira's transitions against Albazi's strength. Albazi hasn't fought someone as transitionally adept as Taira, whereas Taira definitely has. He's fought Brandon Royval. Taira, honestly, he's fought guys that Albazi are kind of like this, having the strength and everything, and I just don't think Albazi has the dimension to really take Taira out in this fight. I think it's going to be close though, because granted, Albazi doesn't have a heap of tools, but he does have power in his right hand, and I think he can hurt Taira at a certain point in time. And I do think it's going to be a 48-47 here. I think it's going to be fairly close. I think Albazi is going to come out pretty strong. I think he's going to come out, try and make a statement. I think he's going to land some pretty nice shots. I think he's going to hurt Taira in the first round. But we know Taira can eat shots. We saw what happened with him against Brandon Royval. He has a lot of heart. And I think if that fight against Royval is doing anything for him, it's only improving him. And I do think that Taira, I do think he's just going to get clipped a couple of times with that right hand. I think he's got to adjust to it, or I think Albazi being more aggressive and land some nice shots. Take that first round. Then I think the second and the third rounds, I think that Taira's transitional capability and just his more defensive-based control game, I think is going to really come through. I think he's just going to be able to use more knees in the clinch. I think he's going to press Albazi more so, and then I think he's going to try take him down. I think he's going to be able to take Albazi down as well. And I think through that second and third round, I think he's going to do well to do that. Fourth round, I think Albazi's going to get more serious there. He's like, shit, I'm in the championship rounds. I'm already down within those 3 rounds. I need to make a statement here. I think he's still going to start fucking swinging for the fences. I think he's going to land some good shots, and I think he's going to win that round overall with some close calls to take Taira out. I think he's going to get Taira down. And I think he's just going to win that 10-9. But then in the 5th round, I think Taira is just going to, I think he's going to be the fresher fighter. I think he's just going to be fresher. I think he's going to be able to outstrike Albazi. And I think he's going to be able to take him down towards the end of that round just to play it safe. And I think he's going to take that 48-47, winning rounds 2, 3, and 5. And Albazi rounds 1 and 4. Now, I really hope you enjoyed this predictions and breakdown video, and please let me know down in the comments below what you think about these predictions and what your predictions are. And please like, comment, subscribe, and catch the video on the screen, and I will catch you in the next one.